We're back over towards North America, and it is time for EG to take on Gen.G. Now, last time these two teams faced off, it went in favor of Gen.G, but there were some close games throughout. And for making sure we're energized and ready for this one, I'm cracking open a cold one, but it is a legit cold one. I'm not going to be drinking on stream. Let's get this shit started. Boom. There we go. We're ready. Guys, are you ready for this?
Not as ready as you are, James. Not as ready as you are. Nobody beats that. Is it good?
Yeah, man. I'm diabetic. I get 0 sugar ones. It's perfect. It's maybe late at night here, but I got to stay supercharged and ready for this one. It's the only game of the day, so I'm going to be hyped up, ready, and energized from start to finish. And that's what I'm looking forward to from these two teams, right? Because when we're looking at EG, things weren't exactly pretty to the level we expect from them, but I'm hoping this time around we're going to see them show up to the standard we expect from these guys.
Yes, and I think you're spot on when you're saying that it's not necessarily looking bad for EG, but it's not looking as good as you'd expect for a team with that many star players. I think Christine said it yesterday that when you look towards Evil Geniuses, when you look towards the players, and now the coach coming in as well in terms of Zeus, this is a team that is built to potentially be the best North American squad, and also a team that potentially can be a top 3 team in the entire world. So when they go up against a team like Gen.G, initially you'd be thinking to yourself, okay, Evil Geniuses, they should be able to win this one fairly easy. But looking at Gen.G, apart from yesterday when they lost 2-0 to the Thieves, it's been looking good for them. They've been playing some super rock solid Counter-Strike. So coming into this match with Christine, I don't know if you agree, but it's more like a 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. For me as well. And you're spot on. I think Gen.G, they do look very fantastic. I think the two differences is on the EG side of things, we've been seeing individuals popping off as far as their peak performance. I think Cirque, he's looking great. Sure, Breeze, he's not dropping over 120 ADR per match, but he's still looking fantastic, right? But Ethan, he was a little bit more quiet yesterday in that series. It seemed like he was playing a different style of game, a different pace of game than what C9 was throwing his way. So it took him a little bit of time to get back into that series, and unfortunately a little too late because they actually ended up losing that series out versus Cloud9.
Now I want to touch on the EG coaching change, right? Because obviously the team-wise, we know we're happy with what these players have to offer, but how much of a difference does adding a coach to this team like Zeus add to their ability to perform to another level here?
It adds a complete different layer on one condition, and I know Zeus is gonna hate me for saying this, but there's two versions of Zeus, right? There's the version that is the super driven person that can take any team from let's say a team is at a level 5 and he's just gonna bring up the team to a level 7 or level 8 just because he's so good at facilitating all the best abilities in certain players. Now that Zeus, if they can get him ignited, if they can get that Zeus as a coach, I believe EG have found potentially one of the best coaches in the world to join the organization. That being said though, when it's the Zeus from the MIBR time, when he's more laid back, when he's a little bit less hands-on, you know, just chilling a little bit with it, not really that motivated, Zeus is just a regular coach. So the Zeus I had in Team Liquid when he was my coach, he was the ignited one, he was the motivated one, and by then I have no doubt saying that he's a coach on the level with Sonic and Astralis. But if he's not motivated, then Zeus is just a regular coach who of course is a bright mind for Counter-Strike, but he's not going to elevate EG. So please, I beg, Zeus, the motivated one, turn up.
And we have to remember also on that front, I believe it was Moses that said back in that Liquid lineup, around the time you were on that squad as well, Pimp, Zeus kind of made these boys into men, right? And started actually allowing them to know and understand what it's like to be winners within the competition. So I think certainly if he's able to bring that sort of value to this EG squad, I mean, he should be able to at least get them in the right mental state.
Just a quick note on that one. I have no problem saying on the record at all that without Zeus and Team Liquid in that period when I was within that squad as well, Elise would have never been the player he is today. Nitro would never be the in-game leader he is today, and Liquid would have never been the best team in the world for that period. He built the foundation in Liquid. He learned, those guys and myself included, to be serious about Counter-Strike and take it to the next level. Without him, there would have been no Liquid success, so we can attest a lot to him and his time in Liquid.
High praise indeed. You love to hear it, but I want to see what EG are going to bring to this game, so let's hear from them.
When we first got Zeus, we were really focused on kind of implementing any strong points he had from MIBR that he could teach us and kind of getting him integrated with the team. Just until like last week, we kind of decided just to go back to our roots and make sure everything's super strong, because you can't really grow as a team if the roots are still bad. So I think every now and then it's good as a team to kind of go back and make sure everything's stable.
Freebie there, where they walked straight down middle and took out Cirque. There we go. Those are getting both
Neon
out.
spray down the Tarek.
Yeah, versus Gen.G definitely didn't go as planned. I think everyone was making bad individual plays and reads, and then definitely as a team, we were definitely like at our lowest point. I think we still have better individual play and tactic, so hopefully now we're kind of ready to go. We have some stuff in store for you guys, so keep watching.
So EG there, right? And I'll say one thing, when we're hearing him talk, then he doesn't even sound as confident as he usually sounds. And that to me is one of those signs where it might come down to his performance that hasn't looked as good, at least in the opening game.
Hey, he's not just out of practice in that server, he's out of practice with these interviews, man. Quarantine has made us all sorts of weird. So certainly talking into a little webcam is a little bit different. He certainly seems a lot more relaxed in his room environment than what we're used to seeing in that LAN environment on the stage. But he's still got that suave, that coolness about him, which he's certainly going to need going into this series.
Now, I want to take a quick look at this group as well, right? Because they got off to a tough start for them. They tried to take it to C9, but it wasn't working out for them. This is a game that they must win now. And again, when we look at this group, I keep saying it, but it's online. It's all up in the air, and anyone could win on any given day.
Anyone can win on any given day, and especially looking at this group and the state of North American Counter-Strike. Initially, just looking at the 4 teams right here, I can barely tell which one is supposed to win the group and which one is supposed to go out of the tournament. It can, at this point, it can be anyone. Cloud9, off to a good start, sure. Same for the Thieves. In 2 days, 3 days, we could be looking at a situation where those two are out of the tournament. It's such a close group. There's so many good teams in here, and so many teams as well who struggle. Evil Geniuses, they're supposed to be the better team. The Thieves are supposed to be the better team, but they're not playing up to that level right now, and that gives a golden opportunity to the Cloud9 and to the Gen.G squad for making a big upset right now.
And when we're looking at that Gen.G squad, right, we saw them in action yesterday, going back-to-back games here, and they really have a point to prove. We spoke about the deliverables there with their coach of what Bentech can offer, what Automatic can do, but those individuals weren't able to step up at the same time.
No, they were. The only good thing from yesterday, I guess, is that Som, he was able to actually step up. And we spoke about it a little bit yesterday about the fact that his trajectory was on such a skyrocketing upward trajectory, but then he just faltered off. But yesterday, he showed us exactly why we had such high hopes for this youngster. But the rest of the Gen.G squad, it's the same storyline. It's about the consistency. But I gotta say, the slow, methodical approach coming out from Gen.G, it kind of gives me hope, right? I mean, they're preparing for the long run. And Daps has said it before in the past, is that this project, he's looking at the bigger picture. He's trying to get his team to a point where they can actually be competitive with the best of the best in the world. And right now, we're just seeing those growing pains with the consistency front.
And when it comes to consistency, right, it's one of those things that's really hard to deliver online when you're in a different environment. Things are changing so rapidly. Players come out with some next level wild confidence that we haven't seen before as well. They play very differently to what you may be used to. And that's something very hard to deal with that we're seeing a lot of teams struggle with here. But I love the part when we spoke to Elmer Putty yesterday when he was saying about Bentech having to learn a bit of a different style of play, having obviously played a lot of time in the agency where he could get away with things you generally can't get away with over here.
No, and that's the thing. Bentech has to realize now he's playing with the big boys. He's playing with some of the best North American players out there. And if you make a mistake against Elish, or if you make a mistake against Twist for that matter in Liquid, you're going to get your head ripped off. And that's just the way it is. If you did that in the Asian scene, he could maybe bail out with the crisp aim he has himself. But over here, you make mistakes, you get punished, especially when those teams are playing well. So it's good to see that he already now is aware that he has to improve in those certain aspects. I think Bentech is off to a good start in Gen.G, and I'm excited to see where he is in half a year, because this dude, I've been saying it for a long time, but he can be one of the best players in the world if he's being nurtured correctly.
And that's what it sounds like they're exactly doing with it as well, which I love. And I want to hear more from this team to see how they're going to go up against EG now.
So going into the match versus Evil Geniuses, I wouldn't say we personally feel like we're the favorites, but I don't know how the community feels, like the betting odds and how the odds would be like against them. But for us personally, at least me, I don't know about my teammates, I I feel like it'll be a 50-50 matchup.
Broken through. You can see he knows the sound cues, and Som, he's ready for him, but does he land a shot? Apparently he does. Nice work. So he definitely did hear him. All he was aware, but it's all a ruse. You see the fact they've taken all this space. They've actually managed to crack open the inside area, and this is going to be a very important shot. How does Tarek and Breezy bring this one back?
Honestly, I think individually they are like 60-40, but then in my opinion, our team play would be better than theirs, so would be another like 60-40, which is why I say it's like 50-50. So we scrimmed EG not too long ago, and we know that EG has changed a couple of spots from our last match, so we're not too focused on countering or trying to focus too much on like little holes that they have, because we know that they've changed from the last time we played them. So honestly, going into like this EG match, we're focusing on ourselves.
I'm not too sure what to make about a lot of those comments. 50-50, not too confident in certain aspects of his team, even though they had the win last time around. Oh, God. I get what he's trying to do, right? Play our own game, the typical answers and stuff like that, but they need a lot more than that to take down EG.
Yeah, definitely so. And I mean, this Gen.G squad, once again, they're young, right? And that trust system, it's still developing. So maybe that's why he wasn't quite sure how his teammates feel about this match going in. But, you know, we would expect them to have a little bit more confidence than that. But you know what? Young Somathan, he can show his confidence in that server, which I know he will, because he's got that 16-year-old aim to back him up on that aspect. So I'm sure that he'll do all his talking with his mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, we've got to give him some time to learn the interview side of things. But what I want to look at is this veto, because last time around we saw Nuke, Train, and Dust 2 come out from these guys. How much of a change will happen? Let's have a look at how it's going to go down. Then bans makes sense. Oh, okay, we're going to have an Inferno play in there from EG.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I think EG can play and train at a very high level. I think Sturk in particular is a stunning AWP player on that CT side, especially the way he plays. He's very aggressive towards team main, very aggressive towards Pop Dog. He doesn't play like a lot of AWP players does, behind the 6 train, back down Ivy, behind green. He likes to be up front, he likes to be aggressive. So that's going to be interesting to see that one panning out. Map veto-wise, Christine, I don't know about you, but this was pretty much as expected. And I think both these teams are fairly comfortable with all the maps they're going to play. Inferno as well, everyone knows how to play it.
Yeah, I guess the only big thing, the big difference here would be the Vertigo coming in place as that third map decider in place of Nuke. I think that's kind of a curveball. I think EG are gonna probably struggle a little bit more on that versus Gen.G, because Gen.G have had the will to actually first pick Vertigo going into a series just a few weeks ago. So I believe they're going to be a little bit more practiced on that one. But you're right, this training Inferno is absolutely expected.
And I'm glad you said that, Christine. Just to add some context to the boys out there watching right now, you look at that win percentage and you may think to yourself, okay, Christine, you're saying that Gen.G is actually decent on Vertigo. They lost 16-12 against Furia, one of the best teams in the world on Vertigo. A competitive game. They lost 16-13 against Cloud9, again, competitive. They lost in overtime against Cloud9 at the Flashpoint, and then they lost 16-13 to MIBR. So all the losses they've had on Vertigo has been super, super close against some of the best teams in North America on the map. So I agree with you, Christine. Despite only having a 20% win rate, Vertigo is a map they play to a somewhat high level.
Yeah, sometimes the percentages don't tell the whole picture. Now, we've given our thoughts here on how this could all be going down, but I want to hear from Twitch chat. It's time for you guys to make your vote on who you think is going to win at this game. If you're going to go for the EG camp or the Gen.G camp, we'll have to wait and see. But right now, all I know from looking at those maps is we're going to get a competitive game. We are going to get a tight series for sure. And we're going to get amazing Counter-Strike action as always. It's time for us to head to a break. And when we come back, we'll be getting into the action and kicking things off a little bit further. We're about to get started with the game, but before that, I want to see what Twitch chat had to offer and which way they're going before I hear from Potter and Pimp on their decision on all of this, because we know Twitch chat like to throw us some curveballs every now and again, and they like to try and surprise us, but I have a feeling that EG might be the favoured ones, and oh my wow, see again, they've done it again. They just look at the past results and they make their decisions. But Pimp, I'm going to start with you. Which way do you think this is going to go?
That's a good question, James. I think, as Sam said, Sam is not supposed to say it's a 50-50. Sam is supposed to say we're going to win it. But I think this is a 50-50. Looking at the maps, though, and looking at the history and looking at these two teams, I think the defining factor in this matchup is going to be the fact that Automatic is not going to be playing super confident going up against a guy like Cirque. So I'm going to lean towards EG because I think he's going to win out the AWP battle, and I think that's going to be enough for EG to win against Gen.G.
Potter, what about you?
I still have faith. I'm going Gen.G on this one. Gen.G all the way.
Okay, well, I'm with the Gen.G camp as well, because I believe when Bentech can come online, if Automatic can hit those shots, that's what it's going to come down to. That's how the game is going to
Guys,
go.
you're both wrong. She's the one to point that out.
Twitch chat and me and Potter are both wrong. All right, Pimp, you're always right. But we'll count up all your predictions, right, across the series. We'll see how you do. Maybe you should enter the DreamHack pick'ems as well, because I know Sigourney's a big fan of that. He's been killing it with it. But Train's the opening game, and I think it really is going to come down to that crazy AWP battle that can come in there. So Cirque's going to have to come in hot and heavy if he wants to get the job done.
Yeah, and we saw Automatic. He wasn't playing that well yesterday, to be completely honest. He wasn't really finding the shots with the AWP. And I don't think Automatic is in his best position when he's playing with the AWP. I think he's better when he's a dynamic player who can pick it up as a secondary op. I think Automatic used to have one of the best aims within North American Counter-Strike, and now he's forced to play the primary op role. And I'm sure that's a good role for him, on the long run. So I think Cirque is a much better and more consistent AWP. And if Cirque is going to do Cirque things on a map like Train, then I think that should be enough for EG to win out.
Well, guys, I'm going to have to leave it there with you two. I'm going to bring Scrawny and Launders into the mix and hear what they've got to say ahead of their commentary time. Guys, it's good to see you both. It's good to see your faces. I wish I could touch you. Which way am I going? Does this work? No,
Don't
that
touch
way.
Me,
there we go.
I smell bad, so we're probably not. It's probably good that we're...
You're just living the life at home. You're not showering anymore. I see how it is.
Deodorant
Cut
anymore,
your own hair.
right?
It doesn't matter. Yeah. We're lucky at this point. We're lucky. But this game, guys, right? This is certainly going to be a banger. I think we're in for a free mapper.
We could be.
I think the odds are high of that. Obviously, the recent results tips towards Gen.G, but if, as any good analyst, you got to look at EG and say they're supposed to win this match.
All right, well, let's get into the game. Time for you guys to take it away. Let's enjoy some Train.
See you in a bit, James. See you in a bit. That's right, folks. We're back with North American Counter-Strike. We've got Gen.G and EG. Now, me personally, I've got to stick to my pick'ems. I'm still in the top 100, but I have fallen short into that lower 50, okay? Because Gen.G cost me a point yesterday when they played versus 100 Thieves. And, well, I still think they're capable of kicking evil geniuses while they're down. We've seen EG struggle a little bit, but I don't think by any means this is going to be as convincing as, say, what Cloud9 offered us in their opening matchup. I was kind of putting Cloud9 and Gen.G neck and neck in the next period of time, hoping that they'd, give us this explosive fight and that maybe that matchup could decide who tops the group. But Gen.G stuttered yesterday, and they definitely looked outclassed on Overpass. So I'm kind of curious where their map pool goes, and yet I still find myself cheering for them, Mohan. Where does your heart fall?
Yeah, it's tough for me on this one. I don't really feel like I could make a level-headed prediction. I think the recent form tips it towards Gen.G, but I think Pimp had a very valid point that if Automatic is a bit hot and cold right now, Cirque definitely looks a lot better. That's going to be a pretty important matchup on an individual level to change the course of the maps. And we look at the map pool itself, this could very easily be a 2-1. But who wins on Vertigo is a question mark as well, because although Gen.G have been picking it, they also have been losing it quite often. So it feels like it's slightly fallen out of their map pool.
Yeah, picking it, losing on it, and also banning it. We saw Vertigo be their ban yesterday versus 100 Thieves. And today, because of that Overpass result in the second map yesterday as well, again versus the Aussies, we see Overpass banned first instead, and Vertigo slips into the map pool. So that to me kind of screams a little lack of confidence. But we're only going to have to find out if we get there, right? There's a world where this one all 2-0s. There's a world where either team take it. I think it is fair that our experts have kind of put this one straight down the middle.
It really couldn't be a harder match to call. And even if we look at the veto between these two first maps, Train and Inferno could go for a 2-0 for either team. Gen.G pick into Train, but this is a very strong map for EG historically. And Gen.G looked good on it, we already know, but then Cirque's really, really good at opping right now. And then Inferno, that's also a wash for EG just because their form is a bit out of whack. So they could drop Inferno, they could pick up Train. It could be the opposite. I've really not seen a clear answer to this. Picking a winner is tough on this one.
Definitely so. We're about 90 seconds away from the start of the first map, guys, so don't you fret, all right? Casters, start game. We're getting there. We're getting there. But I want to talk about Som real quick. I want to talk about Som and I want to talk about Bentet because these are the two, I'd say, lesser known pieces. We've seen Kusta with a run in North America. We've seen Automatic with his run, and Daps is a proven entity, a proven successful part of creating teams. But Som and Bentet, I don't think they've gotten that chance to really, I'll just call it that. They haven't gotten their chance. Not in a solid form, not in a solid team. And this could really be it. That's a huge move for Bentet to come join the North American region. And we look at, say, the heavier hitters of EG, we give super amounts of praise to Cirque on the AWP, one of North America's best snipers, hands down. And so now you'd think that Bentet has to try and fill shoes of that size. There's expectations from an organizational standpoint and probably from a team standpoint too, for him to come over and just start racking up frags, for him to start carrying games. And I would really love to see a Bentet in that mode.
Yeah, there's a multitude of conflicting storylines here, as you're pointing out. Som, at the beginning of the year, had the DreamHack Open, Anaheim MVP, and then recently tapered off. His form started to fall back, but then again, in most recent matches, has bounced up as well. So Bentet, on top of that, I think you're right. There needs to be a gestation period for him to get comfortable, and then we can really see him shine because he was at the helm of the team with much less talent, and now they've got a better roster, but it's going to be harder to fit him in and give him that same shining light.
Well, let's do it. Without further ado, folks, welcome to map 1 between Evil Geniuses and Gen.G. Both these teams currently 0-1 in their group, so you'd have to feel that this matchup could come back to bite whoever gets eliminated in the end. This is their chance to be back into the middle of the pack. Stanislaw, he saw contact over towards the B site early, decides to fall all the way over towards Oil, but 3 Ts have moved past the bomb site itself, and Stan capable with dealing the first 2. Now, Automatic, he's still standing amidst the CTs, and he certainly hears all of the footsteps move around through spawn, so he knows his position's compromised. It's huge for Daps to pick up that flank kill because now the 2 players left on site can just look forward, and they do so, taking down another couple players, leaving Tarek to try and clutch, and he doesn't come up with much. It's Gen.G Esports taking T-side pistol.
You always play a very scary game to allow the bomb to go down and play that 5v5 post plant. We look at the spots from the CTs, ladder room control, one back on B. They're planning not to die and to play for this situation. But just as we saw in that last clip with Kusta being able to shoot down the guy in the side of the head on the back of the bomb site, that's going to happen quite often, especially if you don't get the opening frag. And Gen.G worked well with that space. We saw how good their B execs were when they're able to get to the back of the site with the bomb planted. So post-plant situations may not be favorable for EG, even though their executes are a step up from the last team that Gen.G played.
We get the one and done out from Som. Decides to throw himself through the smoke towards T-Con. That's going to be shut down by Ethan, a player who you'd love to see come alive early. He had a bit of a struggle in their opening match, already touched upon by the analysts, so I'm not going to beat him while he's down. But we know what Ethan's capable of. I would say actually one of the most promising aspects of our boy I'm a Pet departing is that he praised Ethan as being one of the more vocal voices on EG when it comes to adapting gameplay and coming in with new strategies, new ideas. So he's got that big brain, and oh my god, apparently the aim. 2 kills on the retake already. He is going to jump on top of the bomb. Daps, he's going to have to peek this. There isn't a kit. He's inside, near halfway gone, and Daps wrongs him. A robbery from the above. It's Gen.G with a second.
Into the 10-second defuse as well. There was a chance that Ethan could have pulled that off despite the first kill not going his way. Ethan's form specifically has been called into question recently, and it's great to see him pick up this 3K. Unfortunately, they lose the round. It's definitely a close call for Gen.G, and they spend a whole bunch of money investing 4 players into trying to win. So it's still a small victory there for Evil Geniuses, although they are back on the USPs. The full eco is outside. All the USPs just in between the trains, not looking to avoid contact, but just playing tradable spots. and hoping that Gen.G go for this outside play. And it seems like there is a rumbling of it. They might end up running headfirst into the stack.
Tom's position about to be checked. That's the rattling of the double Mac 10s. Off of the flashbang, Som starts to sprint forward here, just checking the corpses. Looking for a little upgrade, but again, it is purely vanilla pistols coming out of Evil Geniuses. They don't decide to move off of the first casualty, just kind of letting Tarek die on his own and holding what they have. This pistol set up outside. Som throws the grenade. There's a little bit of chip damage, but still very patient on both sides of the coin here. Nobody's really forcing the issue, but with this smoke grenade, Stan thinks he's going to find a bit of timing. Decides to walk through it. No, he holds. It's Gen.G who have had enough. They sprint into the B site, find it's completely free. They call out that A stack, and this is going to guarantee them their third round with minimal losses.
They really did a fantastic job of both pretending they were going to continue with their A take, as well as working on B simultaneously with the rest of their core. So yeah, these pistols won't have any kills coming their way, except for maybe this SMG, or the SMG could take the role of fragging. And Ethan ends up trading it 1-for-1. That's not so bad. MP5 has now made its way to the CT side. Automatic looking to catch the fallback with the Mac 10. A couple of players are low, and the Mac 10 reigns supreme once again.
MP5 doing dirty. It's essentially just an automatic USP. You saw the damage output there from Kusta. Unless you're getting headshots, it's not the best weapon in the world.
Yeah, it does sound a lot like the USP. That's true. It does sound like
it's just
automatic.
three MP. It's three USPs duct taped together. That's really all it is.
Yeah, that sounds like a scary weapon. I mean, I wouldn't know how to use one, but yeah, three. I'd hopefully be able to
figure it out.
Get a frag.
Well, let's see if they get frags now that they've got guns. Evil Geniuses in with the AWP on Cirque. He gets the pick. And this is that op duel that Pimp was so beautifully painting a picture of. It's the Automatic versus Cirque show. And right now, Automatic sets up shop. He wins the op trade, but it does cost a body, obviously, and then another. Gen.G gonna lose the man advantage because Ethan followed suit with another quick kill. He's off to a strong start so far here on train, and that could be a great sign of things to come for EG. But Bentet, he walks down the ramp, and he's not gonna find anybody up close here, so this is definitely gonna start drawing the bomb over. He knows that somebody has to be near. There's no way it's completely for free. And now he sees that CT deep, way back. Stanislaw gonna get dropped by the headshot. Kusta comes in to plant bombs. So that's a big opening here for Bentet on a man disadvantage to create the space, make the call, get the kill, and then possibly lock it down. Breeze gonna walk right into his Galil. So Bentet's got everything to do. He gets another frag before Ethan trades it back. He is 6-3 at the start of this, and it's another clutch attempt from Ethan. He's sprinting over to the bomb with Automatic above him. He has a smoke to block off it and a frag to follow suit. Does great damage to soften Automatic, and this time he's got the kit. He's gonna stick it. Defuse shines through. EG on the board.
Yeah, he calls out that spot, sees that Automatic falls back, potentially hoping that he throws a grenade, takes position on the bomb with a great HE from himself as well, and yeah, finally gets some revenge for in that 1vx situation. That's nicely done by Bentet, first and foremost. And he's doing a good job here of exploiting the fact that if you're going to play spotting on B, there's always going to be a gap in the information. And yes, you're always going to have to take a risk to win the round in the man disadvantage situation. So that's kind of one of the better risks that you can take, trying to lurk out into a site, into a place where you know they can't watch both choke points competently with one player. It puts a lot of pressure on Stan to win the duel once he's been spotted. But clearly, with somebody on the hunt, the other player's never going to be in a bad position to win the fight. So it's not favored for Stan sometimes. So what I'm trying to say, it's a bit random, but it's nice for the T when they're already looking for whatever they can get. So now the CT setup is once again pretty standard outside, on both sides, excuse me, but they're watching both things inside. And Gen.G are playing Uno with their spots on Ivy, looking to potentially get set up for an outside take. And Daps, he's only got a CZ. He's sitting outside Ivy, so he might just be here to throw grenades. Not sure if he'll commit or not.
Smoke up and over. Gonna go real deep into the ladder room in case there was a counter-terrorist pushed up here, but it's really just Ethan inside of Z, and then Tarek, like a landmine on the MP9, waiting for them to get close. He tries to blow them away. Ethan the same, but it's just one and done and trades back and forth until Som can break that trend. Daps's CZ is enough. But look at Som's HP. 1 point for him, 4 on Daps. That pool of 5 health is all that makes the difference on the outer yard. And as soon as EG pick up 1 round, they're set back into the dumps.
Yeah, I think that's the most salient point, that these trades are barely won. But, you know, if you're going to have low guns, you've got to come up with some miraculous kills like that. The first bullet accuracy being slightly better for Gen.G on the outside execute. And they put pressure on the fact that EG played 3 outside as opposed to 4.
Ooh, hide automatic. There's a lot of bodies coming at you. Daps trying to give cover. A little bit awkward because the closest player to automatic actually died already. So the pistol push did work out by denying the ops kill and then also dealing with his helping hand. However, they weren't able to stop the bomb. And during this time period, during the push out Ivy, of course, Gen.G find B for free. Benta yet again as deep as possible on that bomb site, just calling for Daps to sprint over. And all seems good. I say seems because there's still low HP on 2 of the players for Gen.G and 3 of these pesky pistols.
And I think one of the best ways to get Benta to be comfortable in his positions is to allow him to lurk, because then he can dictate how the round goes for the T's. He can only take the fights that he exactly feels comfortable with. And you can rely on him to use his in-game intellect to make good reads and good plays. And he seems to be very comfortable in this. 9 kills already, 113 ADR after round 5, and Evil Geniuses getting pushed out of their comfort zone one more time. Really do appreciate here how Gen.G are giving both sides a lot of love and not making it seem like they're committing really, really hard to just one or the other, either with a lurk or with 2 players shooting and throwing nades, or their use of Ivy presence, which I feel like is underappreciated by a lot of teams lately. Gen.G are kind of doing it all right now on the T side. So Evil Geniuses are having their economy stripped from them. They're going to have another chance for Cirque to get an op on the board, but they have no money to spend after this round. So if they lose, Gen.G could really come through with a strong half off the back of only 3 rifle rounds.
So far, things have been great for Gen.G. And their train wasn't really in question yesterday. Really losing out to a miraculous 2 versus 5 in the later end of the map. Automatic just blasts away Ethan. Poor kid gets barrel stuffed by the sniper rifle. Tarek trading grenades inside of T-Con. Sees a player fall back and dumps another frag. This time doing, hell, decent damage. Som's down to 3/4 health. But Old Faithful. Seems like Gen.G are going to move the majority over towards the B site. Stan falling back to where he usually is. Over on that oil tankard. Keep your eyes on the radar, though. There is a chance that Tarek comes flying up the ladder just as Som moves by with bomb. Imagine had he gotten cut off. Could have been huge. There's still Daps to sit back and watch this. Tarek decides to come upwards, and he is sent right back down the hidey hole. Stanislaw has not seen anything, but he knows exactly what's up. The bomb plant towards the B site, and in a 3 versus 5, where you've already mentioned they'll have nothing to buy back with, oh boy, they should just try to run. Automatic gets slightly tagged up, and that gives Stan a route to exit. He's going to sprint over towards Ivy and try to join the other 2 rifles so that they can save all they can.
Gen.G make it look very simple, and they get that 1 kill on Ethan outside, and that creates so many opportunities for them once again to shove it into the B site. And Stan's position on the back of B is intrinsically limited, but he doesn't have much of a choice. If he tries to play up close, he can get swarmed by 5 players and create a worse situation for his teammates. But when they tried to jock for map control after they took the B site, coming up the ladder, Gen.G showed us what you can do when you have 5 players and a man advantage. And that's just simply watching ladder. So they were able to push their 5v4 to a win without giving up any exploitable spots in the post plant. Now Evil Geniuses still only have 1 round. Gen.G are on the road to just having a fantastic half if they haven't already. Major facts. This is the 4th game of DreamHack Masters to have a major winner playing for both teams. FaZe Fnatic, MIBR Liquid, and Astralis G2. Wow, it's just only the cream of the crop here at DreamHack Masters.
Wow, it actually, honestly, I'm just going to admit it. It took me a second to look over the Gen.G roster and remember who won a major. It has been quite some time since the glory days of Automatic's Cloud9 run.
I disagree. I think it feels like yesterday.
That hurt me a little. I remember the day it happened. Continent of choice.
Well, now that all the major winners have split up, I think this is the appropriate way to play roulette, right? You put your chips on multiple numbers as opposed to just like all on red like I would do.
Yeah, we learned that lesson in Macau.
Many cities, actually. My strat doesn't work no matter what city you go to, yeah.
Bentet's going to take a peek. Oh, not even needed. He just shoots through the floorboards. Poor Ethan. I mean, actually, good job, Ethan. He actually had to react to the spam, and he still only lost out to a single bullet because look at Bentet's health, 12 left.
So the initiator is the victor here with Bentet. Still maintaining that ADR in the above exceptional bracket, over 100 ADR for him. Once again, he'll be left to work alone as the bomb works towards B, but look at this Ivy presence that's going on for Gen.G, even committing out.
Breeze, no slouch. Ooh, but Cirque, uncharacteristic, missed the shot, allows Automatic to get in. Now Stan swings wide, drops the bomb, and that's the big play from Stanislaw. Tarek comes through Z, gets himself onto the scoreboard, and Evil Geniuses survive what was a crucial round. Remember, they go into that with the 3 saved guns. They buy up around it, everything on the line, and they manage to get through.
I like where they were coming from. I think the idea was that if they press on Ivy control, then at least Cirque or whoever their Z rotator is will not be watching the lower B ramp, and they definitely wouldn't have to. But Evil Geniuses seemed either they didn't communicate the fact that a lot of Ivy presence was coming on, or they weren't scared of it. Knew there was potential for a fake. Ethan goes 1 for 1 on this round.
Damn, this one comes to a flying start. Daps able to trade one. Som gonna get that man advantage here for Gen.G. So it's just a matter of getting past Cirque's op. 60 health for him, and he's gotten into the cover. He's trying to ice out these peaks. But Gen.G just falls silent. I mean, moments ago, there was this barrage of utility and bullets stampeding into the A site, and then it just stops. Eerie, but Bentet nearly blows Cirque out of the sky. He never even touched the ground. Poor guy. Stanislaw, op and a full belt of utility. That grenade, if only moments sooner, could have been his door into the 1 versus 3 attempt, but because he is so outnumbered and because his life is still so valuable, I mean, we're talking kit, full Kevlar, near all nades, and that AWP, so he has to save.
That feeling that you're trying to share with us about how it became so tense at that moment when all of Gen.G got onto the outside site, I think that's exactly what Gen.G were going for. Get into very good spots outside, but leave most of them a question mark, and then allow Evil Geniuses to scare themselves into giving up one more kill. And that's pretty much just it. You know, you replace the CTs on the A site in their favorite positions, flip the table, keep a man advantage to force someone to move on EG, and then hopefully they make another mistake and you make an easy win, or if enough time passes, you safely get the bomb down. You have the 3v2 post plant, which we know is way too difficult to win on train outside. It's virtually impossible to win a 1v1 sometimes with how many options there are for the T that can move around the train. So that's a nice move here by Gen.G. We're seeing a lot of variety in their play. Executes, the tempo changes, the lurk strats, and again, giving attention to both the A and B side.
There's no overcommitment on either side of the map here. Really just, I want to say conditioning Evil Geniuses, but not conditioning them to do anything specific, just conditioning them to not be able to go into an all-in play. It's tough when you have no clue what the hell is coming. So they at least creep up towards T-Con, which I feel like has been a position where they're able to vie for control, barring that last round where we had the all-out rush. How often have we seen such a level of aggression? Kusta, he's very quickly positioned himself down ladder and holds for Tarek to do exactly this. Peeks into the AK, has his head taken clean off, and we've got Gen.G looking to flex that man advantage. Great grenade though, and well-timed smoke. You saw that interrupt Kusta's expected play as he had already primed the flash.
I like that Gen.G look to continue forward with outside because they've seen EG in this 5v4 situation rotate and stay 2 inside. And look, EG actually overstacking towards outside, but there's going to be a small fake towards inside to try to draw a rotate back. We'll see how hard Evil Geniuses commit to this based on this information. And oh my god, Daps, actually, they're committing a player here. So now they can pull him out, knowing that this site is basically wide open. No reason to go outside anymore. Another checkmate, if you will.
Yeah, and another checkmate in the form of something we've seen before. Just one deep B player commits to the site, gets all that information, and now he finds himself within the counter-terrorists. But can Daps come in with kills? That's the next question. The CTs expect him. Ethan doesn't check the corner. Daps decides to execute Stan, and it's a great spray for the second frag. Nicely done there by Daps. You saw Ethan go to check it, but then because his route turned towards the further corner of CT spawn, poor Stanislaw becomes a victim of the uncleared corner. Daps trying to wrap back all the way towards T side so that maybe they can even take these guns from Cirque and Breeze.
The lurks are one thing, but we have got to appreciate how good Gen.G are at playing these 5v4s. Using their one extra piece as a way to scout for information in that situation allowed them to avoid running into a site that had 4 players. It was a great adjustment from EG based on the rounds that we've seen, where Gen.G like to turn it back and go to the B site. Here, Evil Geniuses tried to read one level deep, and once again, Gen.G used their 5v4 to take literal information and turn that into a round win. There was no calling that out. Daps goes in there. You have to be there to kill him or he's going to learn too much. And that's the game that Gen.G played. So they are really earning the hell out of this half, honestly.
A masterclass thus far. 10 rounds deep. EG's still sitting on 2 to the 8 of the terrorist side. So 5 more to go here before we close the first half. Tarek, who had his 26 ADR at the moment, goes jumping in with the MP9. That one gets shut down real quick. And I feel like poor Tarek, you know, like he's being used in these informational plays, like going for that extension around towards T-Con, but we saw him do it early once, and Kusta took his head clean off, no trade. This time, yet again, he's kind of making these movements, but who is there to try and support him? I feel like a second set of eyes would really help, and yet nobody was up close with him.
It was a bit of an uninspired take on T-Con, where he was throwing a smoke as a fake nade, and his teammate was flashing for him to get one person to turn. But he's coming from the right side of the blue train, which means he's losing out on shadow advantage. They're already accustomed to the push, as you pointed out, so there's a lot of things working against him, on top of him just having an MP9.
Ooh, Cert gonna miss a second shot, a third on what could have been a sitting duck. Cert peeks out towards ramp, still empty-handed on the op. And we've got Gen.G with the bomb plant now. CT's up high already. Then Tep first to die. Automatic's gonna respond with one of his own, but he's in a really tough position. Sees that second head, but Breeze slips through the oil tank. And Cirque, he hits it when it matters most. Shuts down that last player in Psalm, and that's Evil Genius's defusing bomb for now what is a 5-round lead.
There were very few ingredients that allowed EG back into that round. They had low on grenades. They lacked the man advantage once again off the early round. They've been weak to these B takes once the bomb goes down. We've seen so many clutches on the B site, but that's normally when it's more of a favored situation. And so you wonder how they even pulled themselves back into this. On top of Cirque missing, as you pointed out, his first 3 shots on a player upper. It felt like maybe he got the rust off with those 3, and that's what allowed him to hit the important one. But still, a very, very strange round for Gen.G to lose of all the rounds that we've seen so far.
Yeah, lucky for him, he's not punished as the ops on cycle between those first 3 shots. Nobody was actually shooting back at him. Had that been combined with his whips, and Cirque could have hit the dirt, and maybe Gen.G are already on 9. But hey, there is a world where that's still a possibility. Gonna burn out some of the utilities. Psalm has to extinguish the fire at his feet.
Here's a situation where I wonder if they'll utilize Ivy and also if they'll try to use Bentet to try to lurk again because he was so good at it. You know, this is really going to put a mark on the face of Evil Genius's confidence. If they lose this round, I think that's understood by Gen.G. They're looking at the 2-3 right now. No fake involved in this as far as we can tell. And they aren't utilizing an op at Ivy as well. But it is going to be a contact play.
got Tarek kind of occupied at the moment. Breeze's flashbang calls them out. Tarek tries to turn, gets the first frag versus Som, but he falls off, and now he's gone. Breeze peeks in. Bentet shuts that one down, and now a lot of pressure falling onto Ethan and Cirque, both the CTs on the bomb site, but another moment where they're trying to struggle here, trying to find a target to take, and Gen.G not making it easy. Why? Because they're hoping Bentet can come around on the flank. Although Daps gets the job done before that comes into fruition. Stanislav firing through the flames. Daps has him slain, and that's Gen.G taking 9.
One of the most important and impressive parts about Gen.G is this mid-round. When they get set up outside, they look like they're very calm, and they know how to make the CTs uncomfortable. Ethan was looking to frag out in that spot in the middle of bomb train, got his first kill. And then when he didn't find his second, he was very confused. Gen.G the entire time had a plan for how they were going to attack it, but definitely took their time once they got into good spots. And that's what's worked out very well for Gen.G. It's not giving any EG any obvious kills. Nice to see you, Ethan. Ethan hit 12 frags in the 11th round of this map, matching his best map of yesterday. That is a damning statistic. Ethan definitely was on the back of the struggle bus without a seatbelt on yesterday.
And yet, while we were trying to paint the picture of Ethan coming alive and Evil Geniuses being able to contend because of that, we now find a world where Ethan's the only one contending versus Gen.G. He has 13 frags, 11 deaths. The next closest, 6 in Cirque and Stan.
The saddest part of all is he's been the person to die at the beginning of the round a number of times so far, which has been a key component in allowing Gen.G to win these rounds. A lot easier if your top fragger dies on the CT side in the first 3 seconds.
Tarek, too, has had a hard time over towards T-Con today. Cirque's going to walk through smoke, does not expect Som to have already been outdoors. He just meandered into the bomb site like it was nobody's business. Stanislaw has his attention turned, and that's 2 frags versus unsuspecting targets. Tarek sprints through the fire. He's going to lose a bunch of health for it, and nobody goes to the top of the train yard, so he can stop nothing. Bomb plant inevitable. 4 versus 3 advantage over top of the Scout and AK. You know that Ethan wants to save it, but automatic shuts down Tarek, so the Scout goes down. And this is double digits for Gen.G on the T side of train, and we are only 13 rounds deep.
This might be a good time to plug the article that Stuchu just released, I think within the hour, on Gen.G and their resurgence and of this team. Best way to find it, probably Twitter.
Stuchu. The man has a way with words.
He's got a piece called Chew on This.
I like that.
Yeah, a little food for thought piece. Okay,
Another
3 to
piece,
10, and it
sorry, may I?
go ahead. Yeah,
I've got a follow plug. Another piece actually kind of worth your time here would be, everybody remembers Ryu? Well, he has a series called something along the lines of like the most coachable players that he's ever coached. And he has a good one on Kusta. So it couples nicely. When you're done your first piece, go read that too. You'll be a better person for it. But please, Mohan, continue.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll just start casting. Let's see. They have, it's this time Evil Geniuses are able to get the early T-Con control. I think I was only going to say that it doesn't feel like they're going to win the next 2 rounds this half based on how things have gone. They're already also at a disadvantage on utility. And Gen.G really just haven't been giving up opening kills, which is very, very important to winning on either side. So let's see. Ethan's alone in ladder room. They are spread out into this default. So far, it's great so far for EG that they just haven't given up a kill. But would you look at that? Dap sees the rifle of a gun, and now he's between 2 Molotovs with no hope of living. And that's a really nice play for Gen.G. Don't even have to show yourself.
Tarek turns attention back towards Ivy, just as Cirque picks up another kill on the forefront of this A site. Stan adding another to the tally. So I have to admit, I was right there with you. Didn't feel like Evil Geniuses were going to pick up either of these last 2 rounds, and there is still a world where they drop it because Som comes through smoke, doubles back close versus Cirque, and the sniper's going to get him. Kusta, 1 versus 3, 30 seconds, bomb on his back. And right now, he does have an open route towards the site. It's just Cirque he needs to deal with. But time's starting to become a real issue. Sprays down the Opper. Now over towards Old Bomb is where we do have Breeze moving in quickly. 60 health for him. Stan back behind Z. Kusta wants to go for the kills, and now he even has still time to plant. He's gonna get this in. Stan's walking outwards. Kusta, with a grenade in hand, rapidly doubles back. And like you said, on this outer yard, there's so many positions Tease can try to clutch from. And Stan could have wrapped back towards T-Con. There's a shadow advantage. Stanislaw goes high. He sees him. Hello. Goodbye. The USP from Stan's enough to get at least a fourth for EG.
Kusta could not have played that better. He just needed to hit the shot, basically. He took a bit too much damage on the first break because it was labored. The second one as well. If it's HSP, that's where HSP obviously matters. The higher the HSP you have, probably the least damage you're taking, and mainly your first fights of the round. A good try by Som. Som's kill, in fact, allows Kusta to get a free name tag on Cirque, who's sitting at health, and brings him into the round completely. So Stan, pretty fortunate to win this round with just that USP, and it looked like Gen.G were about to pull off a very legitimate 1v3.
How wild. It looks from Stanislaw's perspective in that replay, just like when we were seeing Kusta kind of hesitate to react. He didn't see him immediately when he climbed up the ladder. Almost flicked to clear close Olaf. But he got the crosshair back where he needed it, took the kill down, and that fourth round going to be so valuable if EG actually try and mount a comeback.
I think we need elite in chat for Bentet's score. It's not every day. It's not every day, Connor.
Elite crew, represent.
Straight on B, maybe? Bentet up front. This looks like the pistol setup versus the pistol take from Gen.G. They're double up, though. They've been good when they've been doubled up.
True enough. They've got bodies. Gonna start throwing them down the ramp here. Stanislaw eating some flashbangs. Cirque making Gen.G eat lead. Connects his op shot. Doesn't want to get too tunneled vision here. There are a lot of moving pieces for Gen.G, and there's always that threat that somebody walks up the top shelf. Now, Automatic gets the only kill thus far, and it's Stanislaw down as Ethan comes in, a fifth for Evil Geniuses. It was looking real dire, and it honestly still does, but at least they have this little bit of wiggle room to try and make that comeback happen. Whether they can do it is the question we have to ask ourselves. We'll all find out after the break.
Just tell anyone who asks, you're unique, you're unique. There will never, ever be anyone like you. There will never, ever be anyone like you. There will never, ever be anyone like you. There will never history, mother's, father's destiny written in your blood. Every single molecule knows that it's a part of you, growing from a seed of love. Only you know what you are, pieces of a falling star, water from above, driven by a pumping heart. That's enough, that's enough. There will never
Welcome back, my friends. 10-5. Of course, the score line, and it was a fantastic T-side from Gen.G. Lots of stuff to praise, but if we're going to praise Evil Geniuses for anything at all, it's got to be that resilience they showed us at the end of the first half. Closing out with a couple of rounds gives them enough wiggle room to work with. Can this performance from Ethan, 16 and 12 at the moment, be enough on a T-side? Time to find out. They head real strong over towards the Ivy, and Daps just gets steamrolled into the wall, body checked, and the counter terrorists, well, they're still stacked up on the A site, but it seems like the T's may circumvent this. Oh, they could have gone through spawn, but they decide not to, and Kusta, he starts taking bodies. 2 frags for him. They don't expect Ben to double tap, and that's possibly that. Stanislaw, 1 versus 2, trying to keep Som pinned in here. Done.
That's a monster round from Bentet, man. That's crazy. And that's getting the 5v4, which you'd think was the first win condition for being able to wrap Old Bomb off this Ivy push. But the idea is to stay the biggest snowball possible and use the Glocks to gain ground. And I think they wanted to make it seem like there was an inner hit, but there was no pressure towards the inner, so you know that they were going to commit that side, and it required them to frag out. I personally don't love it just because it feels like there's a lot of ways to die, and they even lost with the 5v4, but I'm sure when the strat looks great, it's amazing.
Little smoke spam's not going to do too much. Little aggression here from Kust over towards T-Con, looking to really flex these SMGs, make that moolah.
So far, I'm not seeing as many holes, obviously, in Gen.G's game. But I do think, like you mentioned, if Evil Geniuses had more rounds where they stayed up 5v5, just simply didn't die, they probably could have won at least 3 or 4 more rounds. Because it seemed like even in the 4v5s, they could come close, but Gen.G were so good at pressing that advantage.
Come on now. Evil Geniuses versus the FOM is close. This is going to be one of the best chances they have at an opening in the round. And it doesn't seem to have gone too well. Nice little lineup. Automatic going to be happy. He picked up 2. Daps adding damage to Stanislaw. That one kind of felt personal.
What's the DreamHack Pick'em challenge called? Just that, DreamHack Pick'em challenge?
DreamHackPick'em.com.
There's the plug.
/results. Page 2. Find Scrawny.
Oddly specific, but I feel like you didn't make any of that up, knowing you. That's probably exactly what you do. So yeah, I feel like for people who pick Gen.G, they should feel probably pretty good about map 2, based on what we've seen so far. They didn't trip and land at 12 rounds. They earned them. They looked good. They did a lot of things fundamentally well, and it doesn't look like they're slowing down. Flash through, he was ready for it. Dodged the flash and everything. Stan just ends up winning straight up, and Daps gets caught on the lurk. So this is almost what Gen.G were able to do to EG.
Hey, look at that kit. That kit got stuck on the shelf.
Yeah, an impossible to reach kit. You can't pick up kits with E. That kit will never be picked up for as many rounds that happen on train and for the rest of time.
What if he jumps off the ladder? Think maybe he could grab it?
I would like to find out.
I really want to find out.
To recreate the problem, you'd have to get someone to die falling in the same way. Facing forward, so the kit goes forward as a CT, and then you'd have to try to jump in. I'm sure Reddit detectives could probably pull this off. I mean, hell, I have enough time to try to pull this off.
I'll meet you in the server after this.
Okay, why not? Why don't we just do this? Yeah.
Well, actually, I take back what I said. I really do want to find out if they can take it, but I really don't want to put in the effort.
Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah. So let's just let bygones be bygones and let it slide away as we've got Gen.G back in. Again, still just those 2 rifles, and it looks like they're not going to buy anything else. Oh, I spoke too soon. Little delayed purchase, but they get it all in.
Yeah, they figured it out quickly. Kusta goes for the scout. He's like, I'm fine scouting. And then everybody else buys around him. Well, it was a pretty good first round there for Evil Geniuses. See if they can recreate any of the pressure. We've got the 2 initial, like the first layer executes out, or smokes outside. And Tarek, man, he's coming through with the entries now. He really did have a tough time in that first half, but looks already a lot better.
Daps gets mollied out of position. Not going to be too threatening, but if they come down the ramp, then he could be blindsided. He is very much committed to the gunfight two-piece for Daps, and that kind of makes up the fact that Automatic goes down for free. Ooh, and Kusta, well, he just got that equalizing kill. So very quickly, Stanislaw is going to have to try and sprint over all the way from the ladder. Cirque doesn't peek right after the first time, actually buys a bit of time, and then that one catches Som off guard. Kusta jumps down, just swooping in wildly. He's got the kit, he's got the smoke, he's got the flash if he just wants to underhand it. Underhand the flash.
Wait a second. Neither of them are peeking. Oh, no one committed to the peek? Even though he dropped the smoke and they had two players with lots of life? I normally don't call situations like that because there's the psychology of it and it can be very circumstantial, but I'm really surprised that with him dropping, number one, the smoke, and the two players both pressed up in choke points with lots of health remaining, nobody peeked to even spam the smoke down. Kusta didn't have much of a play after he threw that nade, so you expect, since he's desperate, he might try to stick it. That's really surprising to me.
What? I still, oh my goodness, that's wild. Wild antics. All right.
Don't fake. We've seen so many stuck bombs this at DreamHack Masters. Famously, Crystal on the A site versus FaZe.
Sure.
I can't remember who it was. No, JW. Remember JW 1v1? He had the op on top of default, and Crystal jumped in and stuck it. Pros do not fake. Indeed.
Here's Kusta, though. Off of the train yard. Great flashbangs coming out. You saw those T's with their arms up. Bentet, headshot versus Breeze. Som inside of the smoke. Stanislaw may try to plant right here in front of him, so Som, that's an easy frag. Maintains the spray for the second headshot, too. All's good. Cirque, unable to answer back just yet, but with two players so low on health, ooh, let's hope he can add some damage. Make this one close. No, sir. Just the first versus Bentet. Som's going to get it in. That's 3 frags for Som, stopping the bomb and getting Gen.G to 14.
It would seem reasonable to entertain the thought that this could have been some kind of comeback, especially with how nice the first rifle round went for EG. But after that last round, I mean, if they had any confidence, it's probably completely depleted at this point. So Gen.G should have an easy road to closing out this game. Evil Geniuses have a lot to prove to everybody watching and themselves at this point. And starting this round with Tarek at low HP and an initial trade, though. Goes both ways.
And then, bomb plant. All too easy. That one's not going to get stopped at all. CT's kind of posturing all around. Ethan's going to watch for the ladder flank, but what's that?
Kusta's going for the T-Con flank.
Yeah, it's a long route to take.
Extremely long.
Windy road. I hope it's scenic, because by the time he arrives at the bomb site, it could all be over. Cirque going to champion Som as he tries to fly through the smoke there. Automatic. Playing around with the op, and here comes Kusta in with the kill, but the bomb already so far gone. He's really going to have to hope his teammates get moving, and obviously here they are on the save. So no, this one's not over just yet. Gen.G still on 14, and EG having that at 7. 2 survivors for Evil Geniuses, though. That's an AK and Galil moving forward.
I imagine there was a discrepancy in the communication because Kusta was going for such a long flank that he could not be the primary piece of attack. They had to move along with a reasonably competent retake without him, expect him not to be there, but for him to come in once there's only like 1 player left and then maybe win the 1v1. That would have made sense. But I think Evil Geniuses had the back 6 smokes refreshed, and that called out Som's position and the op behind it, made it useless to be able to trade. So EG pull it off in the post plant. Gen.G still squeeze out another buy. And also keep the op in play. Very low on grenades on this round. This kind of round you really want something aggressive to come out. It looks like they have actually, moved Kusta into T-Con. And there is a lot of pressure here around the perimeter of the map on the outside choke points, both at ladder and at Ivy.
Exchange a utility that gets Stanislaw a little bit closer. He's going to be flashed through the smoke. Som dodges the flash, hits the headshot, but can't quite get that kill. And even Bentet failing to land a single bullet. So Stanislaw, he's going to be parading over to the CT spawn. It's not as though he's going to pick up frags, you'd think, but it's at least such a distraction that Automatic has to come deal with it. Wow, great dink. Automatic down to 9, still able to hold the line, but we do have Breeze slipping through. Daps with 1 frag finds him, and we've got that 1-man advantage now. Flex to the double. Tarek, all that's left, coming in through Z, and because the B site falls silent, you know these CTs are going to start looking behind them. We've already got Bentet posted. Tarek walking in unsuspectingly, caught by the M4. Gen.G take 15.
For better or worse, I think Stanislaw pulling off that aggressive flank to the B site made things way too obvious. As we saw, it was communicated by Som he was dinked, and also spotted by Bentet he had crossed and then not seen Old Bomb as well. So Automatic knew pretty much the exact angle that Stan would be in and knew that he had low HP, and then that was probably going to be a B play because of his position. So a lot of information was traded, even though Stan got an opening kill and made so much ground, ironically.
What could be the final hurdle? Tarek's gonna get boosted on Stanislaw's head inside of ladder, just trying to peer outwards, but for now it's Gen.G just welcoming them into this A site. Just one smoke from Evil Geniuses, and Gen.G decide to respond with utility. It's low nades for EG, so they can't afford to waste too much. Automatic on the trains. We're gonna get this pressure now from EG. Good dig, Breeze. Moving through. Trying to get over towards Ivy, where Som's gonna have his head turned in 2 directions. Stanislaw with another kill off of just the pistol. This is Evil Geniuses trying their damnedest, but Daps doing the same. Damien Steele trying to crawl back through Z, and then goes rounding through the smoke, but Stanislaw, the difference maker, the playmaker. 2 Deagle frags in the round, and keeping EG alive.
They do. They keep him afloat for one more round, maybe. They had a nice, well, actually a couple, because Gen.G don't have any money left over. So they'll force up, it looks like. I just saw a scout being bought and some half armor players down to 0. The responses made sense. There's 4 outside from Gen.G. They saw a smoke being used, and as you pointed out, they didn't have many smokes to use. So it's like, okay, why this is a fake? We call it out now, or they commit, and we have a big advantage. Oh, come on, don't, not like this. They have Kusta push in with a 5-7 takedown, all the ladder presence, 3v3, and it might be the eco buyback for Gen.G.
Oh my God, look at Bentet.
Wow.
He is almost inside of Breeze. Oh, he comes wide, sees the second. Further damage versus Tarek. Daps dropping down is going to be able to get that one. And now Cirque has to clutch 1v2. He turns his back and he's doomed. Gen.G, insult to injury, dropping bombs with those pistols to close out on train. Kusta runs into the ladder room, just hoping that at least one player is going to face him. And he gets that double with the 5-7. Blonders. How did they lose on that round?
On the things you hate to see, that's at the top of the list. That's as much as I'll say. This is a 5-7 commercial by Kusta.
Beautiful stuff. We're going to be coming back with the second map, ladies and gentlemen. It's Inferno up next.